Now, a couple of days ago, Glitch Production dropped the trailer greenlighting all season of the Get Like District. But the only problem is this video had so many different images of future episodes that you don't really know what they're trying to show you or trying to say. But in some of the images, you do have sort of connection that just strangely stands out. Mel finds her own dead body. Mel see other versions of her of this sort of otherworldly scenarios, and you see Mel's sort of gang dead skulls and sort of bury sort of eyes, in other words. And you also have the creator making a list of a joke that basically saying some things you may find, but he's sort of joking on the last thing he would say: Mel would die on episode 3. But that was probably a joke, but even that, it sort of feel connected of the scenes you have seen, or at least the scenes that it makes sense. And this is the reason why a lot of people were sort of connecting, talking about it, because these 3 scenes feels connected, but it feels sort of a cliche that you can predict what you are expecting of this future episodes. Before actually breaking down, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, the reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, you like to help my channel, put a like, comment, subscribe. That's the only thing you do. If you don't, that's fine. If you do, thank you. Because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now they come out with this sort of theory, what's going on of this sort of show, of this sort of 3 different scenes. Now let's get started. Now I'm going to talk about my theory, what I think these 3 images and what the creator trying to say while actually spelling anything out. And secondly, when I finish that, I'm going to talk about what people thinking, what their own theories, and what they think they go in that direction. Now let's start with probably the first couple images. The first one is sort of Mel started seeing a dead body, and I think this is how this sort of maybe scene starts, that she's sort of opening but turning around, see other versions of her locked down in the eyes because they all had failed, and she just see a shadow behind the scenes that could be, if I remember the gang or the religion of this Get Like District, the I think Darkan or something like that. I remember the religious name, but I feel it's them trying to stop each version herself before the event actually happened, because she is destined to destroy this sort of kind of god or religions. But interestingly enough, it's trying to show you Mel's gang dead in the eyes, repelling. If she fails, all of them will be punished, including her. And this is sort of what's gonna happen in the near future if Mel doesn't stop it. And that's sort of my take on it, because let's face it, you've seen this quite a few times of like action shows, dream shows, that this sort of state of kind of wide darkness, they give you sort of premonition of something horrific kind of happen. In fact, this is sort of a cliche in itself. This is the reason why I think what's about to happen, because she must stop this sort of kind of religious cult deity who trying to stop her. But honestly, we don't know. It's all about your interpretation. But there's a group of fans are making their own interpretation that is sort of interesting, similar to my idea, but a little different. Let me start off with at least the first one. Now, a fan called The Preserver tweeted out something interesting that she or he or they think is basically is rebirth of the Angel Egg would be Mel, who's seen her past lives, something like the last Avatar, repeating the same mistake again and again, just barely remembering of the events now she must especially deal with. That is something an interesting take. In fact, another one who adds something more interesting is the fact is another commenter saying, now this makes sense because remember of the party episode, Mare is sort of panicky because how Ken the Butcher monologuing, saying stopping the Angel Egg kind of disturbed her, but yet it makes sense because maybe this is the event she remembers of all the versions of her who have failed. That itself is sort of an interesting take because it kind of does make sense. In theory, of course, you can say it's sort of a stretch, but yet it kind of works in a way. Now, interestingly enough, the observer comment back of that sort of response saying maybe she doesn't remember, but to be fair, maybe Butch is the one who stopped everything. Butch is the one who killed all the Angel X before her, except for Mel for some apparent reason. Maybe his father instincts really kicked in, wanted to protect her, or just wanted to change the pattern because maybe he's the one who sees this also. Honestly, it's just a theory. It's something that is kicked around in the fandom of the Gaslight District. But yet, it's sort of, once again, it's interpretations. Maybe this true. Maybe Mel remembers. Maybe not. Maybe Butch decide to just stop because maybe he saw it or not. It all depends how you interpret this nowadays. Now, another fan commenting something interesting is probably something like Thenon sort of endless 300 loops trying to restart again and again just to stop the evolution. In other words, that could be something that Melancholy tries to do or we can't tries to do. We honestly don't know, but it's sort of interesting because how many times that Mel repeat this, if this is sort of a true thing that she's seen something or telling her something or someone telling her something, this actually is going on, and now she have to kind of figure out how to escape or stop the loop or understand what the loop start with and how to end it. That itself could be a fun, interesting kind of take. But I highly doubt that they just kind of do it in multiple different episodes, different directions. But I think it'd probably be one episode and just sort of flashbacking back and forth just to sort of understand what Mel feeling, what she would do, and also question why Butcher sort of made her live for her own power move, or maybe he just care. We just sort of don't know. It's just sort of the interpretation of that sort of scenes when it actually finally come out. Another person kind of commented saying maybe Nick is right. Maybe that joke he did that Mel dies on episode 3 just sort of reincarnated back to that Pacific Egg. Let's face it, that joke of the rules Nick set up for what gonna show up in the episode was a joke, but wondering maybe it's not a joke. Maybe this is the truth. This is sort of the reason why I also believe this is also the sort of truth of one direction. Could be a loop, could be a premonition, or just sort of a just bad dream. We honestly don't know. Honestly, this whole little gimmick of showing every single scene could be the first 3 episodes, or just be one episode showing different moments of that scene. That could be episode 3. But once more, that's just sort of a joke, but that simple joke is just so random out of nowhere. It just makes too much sense to actually ignore. So yeah, I don't know you. What do you think about this? Tell me down below. Let me know. Another one agrees completely of this sort of theory about maybe Mel doesn't really die. She basically got reborn again and again because she's angels. Angels do not die. They got reborn again and again. Maybe that's her special ability, that she just dies. And that's sort of the truth, the sort of scenario of the few scenes you see. But once more, that's just a theory. This could easily be completely incorrect, but it's something that people truly does believe of this completely scenes down here. Another one called Emo Girl 13 actually states she also believed this, especially when Ken did that Pacific speech, that maybe she is destined to actually kill off of this sort of religions, kill off everything to make it clear, because at the very end Maybe she's in denial. Maybe it depends how you feel. She's realizing what she must does instead of being pretending to be something she's not, or anything in between. It's all about your interpretation. Of course, this is probably my last sort of coverage of different opinions of different people, but all of that, all of them feels believable till actually is fact when the show has to be sort of released. But other than that, I can't say much because it's just so many different possibilities. Some of them are very similar, some of them really don't. It depends on you, how you feel. What do you read this specific scenes of this sort of clip greenlining the Gaslight Districts? What is your interpretation? Tell me down below, let me know. I got nothing else to say, just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.